15. 14.
I was 21.
I was 15.
15 years old.
17.
17.
When I lost my virginity.
Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I lost my virginity when I was 17. We met online. We would chat like at least like twice a day. When I would get up in the morning, we would chat on ICQ. I'm gonna age myself for a second. The conversation started to turn towards our sexuality. The question came up, am I a virgin? Now, I was 17, so it would have made sense for me to say, yeah, no, I'm a virgin. You know, I'm not out, I'm closeted. But I decided to say that I had a lot of sex. I was just a huge 17-year-old compulsive liar. And he would say things like, oh, like, where do you like to have sex? And I would say, oh, I love to have sex in the kitchen. I love to have sex on the kitchen table. I love to have sex on top of the washing machine. The first time I went over to his house was on Christmas. We decided that that would be the night that we would have sex. So he was ready to go. In my head, I was like getting ready for like the Meryl Streep performance of sex because I had to like get all those acting chops out to pretend like I knew what I was doing. But really deep down, I was petrified. And immediately we went upstairs to his bedroom and just started like red-blooded men ferociously masturbating each other. Like within 2 minutes, he came all over his shirt. And then his mother said, you have to come down for dinner. So I was like, you gotta change your shirt. Like, you can't go downstairs with that all over it. And he's like, no, like, if I change my shirt, then my parents are gonna know that we had sex. It was a black shirt, too. It was like a Rorschach test all over his shirt. So I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do. And then I thought to myself, see, this is why people have sex on top of washing machines, you know? We went downstairs. It was really obvious, and yet no one said anything like maybe people knew, and maybe people were just really uncomfortable and didn't really know what to make of it. I mean, I was like staring at his shirt the entire time. I knew that something was going in here, so there was nothing going in there. I didn't eat dinner at all. We went back upstairs after dinner. He got condoms. I think I started to go into like deep like yoga ujjayi breathing. I had never done yoga. I don't know where that came from. And then we had sex, and it was probably one of the most painful things. Like, it was insane. It lasted for probably about like 10 minutes, and then it was over. That was like a Tony Award-winning performance that I gave. It was pretty awful. It was pretty bad. That's the time that I lost my virginity.
Kids call me Sunny, and I was 15 when I lost my virginity. Young girls reach that age where they hate their parents, they wig out, they're gonna do everything they can to piss them off, make them mad. And I started hanging out with like the bad kids in the neighborhood at the plaza, and it just, I guess it became a joke with them. Like, oh, Sunny's a virgin. I'm like, hell yeah. What, do you think I'm gonna give it up to you? Oh God, no. So anyway, I hung out with them and made my mom really, really mad, and she sent me to live with my father in Unionville, around about when I was 15 in grade 10. And I met a nice boy, and we started dating, and I guess we were dating like a month or something. We weren't allowed to close his bedroom door in his house when we were hanging out, but like we kind of did anyway, because, you know, we're teenagers, that's what happens. And I guess, like, you know, slowly we just started pushing the limits. Kind of, I guess it progressed. Like, we didn't even really talk about it, I guess. Like, I guess we did. We were like, yeah, okay, this is gonna happen. It's just kind of a matter of, like, when. And you know, I was nervous or whatever, and, you know, we were making out, and then it kind of slipped in, and I was like, oh, that kind of hurts. Oh, crap, we can't really be doing this. The door's closed. Oh, you know, what about the parents? So we stopped, we cut it off at that point, and then we got the plan. Okay, it's gonna happen tomorrow. It's gonna go down after school. Cause like my parents won't be home until, you know, whatever time, so it became like a Mission Impossible or something. We went to his basement so that if anything, we could have time to react. And he like got a towel and carefully laid out the towel, and he was like, okay, and like, you know, we all had sex then, and he like put on the condom, and, and I guess, you know, then we had sex. It was both of our first times, so it must have been like maybe 5 or 7 minutes. And I remember at the end, he was like, did you come? And I'm like, yeah. Because all I remember was Dr. Ruth or someone saying that it was like a sneeze, and I didn't sneeze. But, you know, I didn't want to, you know, make him feel bad or anything. So, yeah, sure I did. And I think we just finished up and picked up the towel and, yeah, it's dry, no problem, cool. Put our pants on and, you know, watch TV. I went back to Scarborough, I think, the next year, and then got with my crush, who was one of the bad boys that was never gonna get my virginity.
My name's Izzy Camiso, and I lost my virginity when I was 15 years old. But I was 300 pounds at the time, which is a lot for a 15-year-old guy. You're just short and rotund. Yeah, it was a surprise to me that I lost it too. The girl was 19, which I don't know what she was thinking. It was nice having a girlfriend that drove, though. The first time we met was at a concert, and she gave me her phone number, and we hit it off right away. And I called her the next day to hang out, but she decided that it'd be funnier to kidnap me. By that I mean, like, she showed up with her friends and like bandanas on their face. She's like, oh, get in the car, I'm gonna go take you to the mall, and you have to wear this tutu and dance around like a fairy and start saying, I'm a fairy. So I did it because I assumed, oh yeah, this will lead to having sex for sure. Later that night, we went back to her place anyways. I left the tutu in the car, and that's when I first fingered her. Never done it before. I didn't really know what to do because I'm 15. I only ever saw it in porn. I watched a lot of it, so I kind of had a rough idea. But what I didn't know was when you do this, your pinky finger comes inwards a little bit, and I totally touched her butthole. So my first instinct is, oh, you need to go home and wash your hands. So I got up and made up whatever excuse. Like I told her, I was like, oh, I'm late for band practice. I gotta leave. So I get up, run out of her house, and I ran the entire way. This 300-pound guy, just out of breath, just hoofing it. They're like, oh yeah, I need to get home. I gotta disinfect. This is disgusting. Now I have no problem if my finger goes near a butthole. It's cool. More holes the merrier. Later that night, though, after I ran home and washed my hands, I did go back to her house. I stopped at the free clinic first and got one of those big bags of free condoms, because I'm gonna use all of them, because I'm having all of the sex now. I go back to her place, and it was obviously on a couch in her basement. I'm pretty sure that's how everybody does it. You'd think you're gonna last much longer. The first time, you're in and out. I'm not gonna try and say that I did much better. I know it was bad. The first thing I thought after I lost it was, oh, who am I gonna text first? It was probably gonna be my friend Jesse. Would it be awkward if I went outside to call him? And I'm sure she would not be thrilled, but I definitely did. I told her I went outside for a cigarette, and I was just calling all my friends, telling them that I had sex for the first time. And no one believed it when I told them that I had sex.
What do you do in the summer when you're bored? You shed a lot of clothing and you send flirty glances.
She starts to migrate south.
Oh, I think I'm supposed to be reacting, so I'm like, ugh.
My name's Irena, and I lost my virginity when I was 17. The person I ended up losing my virginity to was actually just a really close friend of mine. It was always a very platonic relationship, and I remember the summer before grade 11, we got very, very close and started spending all of our time together. I went up to his cottage. When I wasn't at his house, he was at my house, and it just became a very sort of an inseparable and symbiotic kind of relationship. He started being like more flirtatious with me. I started getting a sense that he was attracted to me, but I do remember responding to the flirting. I think I was kind of just basking in the attention and the fun of it, because it was summer and we were bored. And what do you do in the summer when you're bored? You shed a lot of clothing and you send flirty glances. When it actually happened, we were at his house. His parents were out of town for the week. I remember him like stroking my back in like a friendly way. Friends do that, I guess. They play with each other's hair and whatever, give each other massages. But there was something about this that was definitely preceding something else, and I knew that. And I remember just being on the couch with him and things just kind of slowly progressing and going upstairs to his parents' bedroom, and it just kind of happened. It wasn't super like racy or hot or passionate. It was very tame and slow. Nothing about it really stands out. I mean, I didn't even orgasm. I mean, I didn't really necessarily expect to. I mean, a lot of the time when it's your first time, you don't really have the, I don't know, I guess sexual prowess, we'll call it, to make that happen for another person. But it was like, it was nice. It was friendly and it was familiar, which was what was good about it. I think I now see sex as just kind of an extension of the way you can show affection for a friend. And I think that the only thing that really changed in our relationship is we became closer friends. It wasn't like that was the precursor to a relationship, and I don't think that sex necessarily has to be that. But I think about it very fondly, because it was with someone that I loved, even if it wasn't someone that I was in love with.
Hi, my name is Fouad, and I was 21 when I lost my virginity. Yeah, so I was 21, and I was beginning to feel like it was never gonna happen, like I was gonna stay a virgin forever. At the time, I was friends with a classmate of mine named Rochelle. One day, Rochelle calls me up and says she's just broken up with her boyfriend and she wants to go drinking. And I think, this is amazing. So I'm out the door in a flash. I get to the bar. Rochelle's there with her friend Cynthia. 2 beers in, and Cynthia and I are making out. And Rochelle is just getting more and more depressed about her breakup. Eventually, we leave, and I convince the three of us to go back to my place. Rochelle goes to sleep on the futon I had at the time, and Cynthia and I continue to make out on a nearby couch. Once Cynthia thinks that Rochelle is asleep, she starts to migrate south, and she undoes my pants, and I'm thinking, this is amazing, this is it, this is the moment of truth, it's gonna happen. But before Cynthia can get warmed up, Rochelle wakes up and berates us for our classless drunken act. I think her exact words were, "Guys, I'm sleeping and I just woke up with my boyfriend." So we were both pretty embarrassed, and we kind of just fell asleep in each other's arms. Cynthia and I stayed in touch through calls and texts, and we had several more dates that didn't end with her going down on me, which was very disheartening, until one night after one of our movie dates, Cynthia came back to my place, and we were making out in my room when my dog needed to go out. So I take my dog out, I come back. When I come back, Cynthia is on my bed wearing this lace black lingerie that was arousing, to say the least. So we start making out again, and then I go down on her, but I don't let her return the favor for fear of it affecting my impending performance. But that didn't help at all. A few thrusts in and I was completely toast. But I was so embarrassed about being a virgin and my poor performance, I didn't want to admit it to her, so I told her that she was just tighter than the rest. That seemed to placate her. It was pretty great. I guess a weight felt like it had been lifted from my chest, like I was a man now. When we broke up, she told me that I was her first love. Me being the smartass that I am, don't like to miss opportunities for puns, so I said that she was my first as well, but I don't think she got it, which is good. It was a bit of an inappropriate pun, but I think a victimless one.
Hi, my name's Natasha, and I was 15 when I lost my virginity. So how it happened was that I was on the bus going to my boyfriend's house, and as I was going there, my friends are like texting me saying, "Oh, you're gonna lose your virginity today, you're gonna lose it." I'm like, the hell, how do you guys know that? They're like, "Oh, we told your boyfriend, like it needs to happen, this has just been going on for too long, like you guys just need to get it done." So I'm like, okay, so I'm like freaking out, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like gonna lose my virginity, what the hell? So I get to his house and we go to the basement, and as we're going down there, I'm like nervous, I'm freaking out, and then we sit on the couch and we're just sitting there like wondering what's going on, but then we both realize like what we came to do, basically, because my friends told me. So He starts like trying to kiss me and everything like that, and he was horrible at kissing. It felt like really disgusting. I'm like, okay, he sucks. As we're kissing, whatever, he takes off my pants and he's like, so are you ready? Like, I'm like, I guess, might as well. So like we start to have sex or whatever, and as it's going on, I'm just thinking like, this sucks, it's horrible. I'm like thinking about all different types of stuff, like eating chicken or like what to do after like meeting up with my friends, going to the mall, like all these random types of things. And I'm just laying there like, this is so boring. Like, is this what everyone talks about? And I'm just like daydreaming, and then every once in a while I'm like, oh, I think I'm supposed to be reacting. So I'm like, like making little sounds and stuff, like just pretending that I'm all into it. I'm like, I think this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I still had my sweater on during the whole thing. I was all hot and stuff. So when it was over, I'm just like, okay, like, I'm just gonna go. So I just put on my backpack. I'm like, okay, well, it was nice with having this little encounter. I'm just gonna leave. And then I walked to the bus. I went back to meet up with my friends, and I told them all about it. And they're like, oh, good job, giving me like high fives and stuff. I'm like, yeah, even though it was like horrible. There was no really good part about it. The whole time I'm just like, this really sucks. Like, I don't know why people do this. I never even had sex for a year after. I'm like, we don't need to do this. Like, it's not. The best part was going home and getting to eat my chicken.
The clitoris is just like a penis, just much smaller.
You have to like stick something in your vagina. That's disgusting.
So I didn't want to make it seem like I was just gonna give it to him like all the other girls, even though I did. Hi, my name is Melissa, and I was 14 when I lost my virginity. I was working at Dairy Queen, and a boy started working there, and his name was Brody. I went to his house, I had my bong, and he had some weed, and we got super baked, and then we ended up moseying on downstairs, and we heard his parents get home, which we were really kind of not too happy about. We'd only been dating for like 2 weeks at this point, and I don't know why, but I just had this sudden like urge in me. I was like, I'm gonna lose it today. I'm gonna have sex with him, and this is gonna happen, and I was just so sure of it. We ended up, you know, making out, doing the dry humping and whatnot, and at this point, he had no idea that I was going to have sex with him. I had always kind of told him that I'm waiting for marriage and he doesn't have a chance. He wasn't a virgin, so I didn't want to make it seem like I was just gonna give it to him like all the other girls, even though I did. Kind of pulled him away from me, and I can hear Nacho Libre in the background, and I was just told him to go get a condom. And he was like, what? He couldn't fathom it, and I was like, go get a condom, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it, it's happening. And he was just so dumbfounded. He asked me about 5 times if I was sure. He didn't believe me, and then I told him, I'm sure, I'm ready. And he went up, like kind of scurried past his parents and pretended to be going to the washroom, and awkwardly grabbed the condom and came downstairs. I remember him putting it in, and there was no sort of pain, and everyone says their virginity sucked. I think it was pretty okay. And I just remember whispering in his ear, being like, this is kind of cool. And him being like, yeah. And then that was pretty much it. He finished, and I thought I had, but I guess you'll learn afterwards. After that, we had dated for quite a few years, on and off, and I was calling him one morning, and I was calling him, and it was weird that my phone calls didn't wake him up. I'd wake up earlier than him, and I would just always call and wake him up. I'd be in his alarm clock, and it wasn't waking him up. So I called his house phone, and then his parents answered and said that he was sleeping, and I said, it's an emergency, can you go check on him? Because I don't know, I had a weird feeling. And then he went downstairs, and I heard yelling. They hung up the phone, and then
Sure enough, I got a call from the police. They came and picked me up, questioned me, and then told me that my boyfriend had passed away. So yeah, that fucking sucked. I wish I knew that people could go, kind of thing. And that was never taught to me, so yeah.
And I'm happy that I live in Canada because I know most parts of the States, they just, as far as their sex ed is concerned, they just do abstinence.
I went to a Catholic elementary school. Sex ed class wasn't a sex ed class, it was just religion.
They say things like, well, 1 in 4 teenagers has some sort of STD, so I would just count people in the classroom. They're like, oh, you got it, you definitely got something.
They would teach us about like just condoms, birth control, women condoms. They would just teach you about like female condoms, and I'm just like, you have to like stick something in your vagina? That's disgusting.
It just kind of taught me that if you have sex before marriage, you're basically like, I just was always under the impression that you're a whore.
The idea of virginity has always been sort of a nebulous idea for me as a queer woman because so much of what the media focuses on is the experiences of like straight, cisgender, monogamous couples.
As far as learning anything about sex from my parents goes, I learned nothing because I come from an immigrant family and immigrant parents are very embarrassed, I guess, to talk about sex.
My mom had 5 kids, you know. I just kind of saw that if you have sex, you're gonna have kids, and that's gonna kind of be your life.
My mom, she'd kind of try to give me the talk, but every time that she'd talk about it, I'd be like, I'm not having sex. Like, we don't need to talk about this. Like, even till this day, she knows I have sex, but we don't really go there.
Sex ed, I wish they would have taught me that the clitoris is just like a penis, just much smaller, and that you should treat it as such.
I wish that in high school you would learn that most likely your first time is gonna be really horrible and really boring.
I wish they taught me in elementary school that, you know, like, if you do have sex, that like God will still love you.
I didn't get the talk from my parents. The one thing my dad told me though was always wash your dick afterwards. No, he said always wash your dick before and after because you don't want to pull out a gross, dirty penis. He didn't say it like that, but it's pretty close to it.